Session with Dr. Farid Polak.
Good evening, welcome to In Session. I'm your host, Dr. Farid Polak, and I'll be with you for the next hour here on Radio Hamra. I wanted to introduce a new series of concepts, topics that I'm going to cover that are called Lessons I'm Learning. And so what I want to actually start off with today is introducing even what this concept means to me, lessons I'm learning. For a while, I've thought about writing a book. I've enjoyed reading so many books and wanted to also contribute some of my own thoughts in that form. And I would always think of, well, what topic do I want to cover, or what title would I want the book to have? And I would often find that there wasn't one topic that I would want to focus a whole book on. I actually preferred, or what came to mind more, was to have a book that covered many different topics and could have short chapters or even really sections that covered many different themes, from parenting to relationships to individual psychological experience, emotions, all those types of things. And when I was thinking of the title of the book, and that's what I'll talk about today, and right now it's not in book form, it's more just spelling out these different themes and lessons, is Lessons I'm Learning. Lessons I'm Learning. And so the reason why this title came to me, appealed to me, was often when we look at what people say, or what people, when they're writing a book, or when we're listening to individuals who we think we should be listening to, there is this assumption that they know it all. When we look to gurus, or we look at gurus, often there is this sense that it's someone who has figured it all out. Now, sometimes they knew it from the beginning, almost like a spiritual revelation they had from birth, or some revelation they had down the line. Or another common theme is the individual who was suffering, was going through a difficult life, and then found the truth and is now sharing the truth with you. Kind of like this, I was a loser, my life was bad, I had no money, I was this, I was that. And then sometimes it's from reading lots of books, or from some kind of switch in their mind. They were granted this gift of life, and now they're going to share it with you. And now their life is amazing. And if you follow what they are doing and what they're saying, your life will be amazing too. And this really does appeal to us, this idea that someone has all the answers, someone has figured it out. Or as I like to say, someone can do the thinking for you. But the truth is, no one can do the thinking for any of us. No one can figure it out and then tell us what we're supposed to do. Life is a challenge that we each have to face on our own. Now, that doesn't mean on our own as in alone, or that we can't look to others or talk with others to better understand things, but that we recognize that no one has all the answers for us. No one has figured it out. So what that means is that we all have to figure it out for ourselves. And what that also means is that it's not only for people who have figured it all out to share their ideas with one another. We actually all benefit when everyone is sharing their thoughts, their ideas, their understanding of things, their lessons of things they've learned with each other. And so I thought, if I'm going to share my ideas with others, I want it to come from that mindset and that approach that it's not because I've figured it all out, or it's not because I have all the answers, or I have the recipe that if you follow, you're going to have a really good life. I don't have any of those things. All I have to share with you are the lessons that I'm learning from my perspective, from my understanding, from my experience. And even that I recognize 10 years from now, 20 years from now, my own understanding of those lessons might even change. But then that brings up this challenge that, well, when do we ever share our ideas? We're never going to be finished. So I would like to share my ideas with others, what I've understood so far, and what I try to implement in my own life, but even that part I'll get to as well, with other people as part of the conversation. Here are the lessons that I'm learning and I've learned so far in my life, personally, professionally, and let me share them with you. And here they are. And as I said, there's that also important point that often there's this notion that to share things, that means you've perfected them in your own life. And so, we see these gurus or social media personalities, and they say, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I do this, this, and this, or, I don't use this word anymore because it means this, or whatever it is. Sometimes these outlandish ways of trying to differentiate themselves to say, I am now living this perfect life, and you should try to be like me. I'm not going to give you any false impressions of that. My life is definitely imperfect. I am a work in progress. I am trying to become a better human being every day. I'm trying to understand myself better, understand this life better, understand my different roles in this life, and I'm doing it incompletely all the time. But I'm trying, and I'll share that with you. So even these lessons I'm learning, first of all, they're not truths or things that are absolute, but also the part that says I'm learning means that I'm still figuring them out, both in the sense that I haven't come to some conclusion that this is an absolute truth, so the idea is still in some ways a work in progress, but also that I'm learning them too, meaning that, sometimes I'll talk about a topic on the show, not because I figured it out, but because I'm still struggling with it myself. I'm trying to understand it better in my own life, or in how I even work professionally or whatever it might be. I'm not talking about it because I've solved it. I'm talking about it because this is a human struggle. It's a human challenge. And really, to me, that's what most of life is about. It's not these things we solve. People are looking for a solution. I want to get balance in my life, so let me figure out what is balance. And they want balance to be this external thing. If you do 4 hours of this, 6 hours of this, 3 hours of this, you will have a balanced life. But balance, of course, there are some things we can learn from others, as I was saying, externally. But balance comes from within, meaning that only I can know when I'm feeling balanced, and only I can know when I'm losing balance or what makes me lose that balance. So first, the intuition or the process of understanding what's working and not working comes from within. Now, of course, we're biased. We can benefit from hearing from other people, but I have to be my own instrument to understand what's happening and what's working. That's why I can't tell you, you should do this for this many minutes a day, because I don't have that kind of prescription that is going to work for everyone. I can share, here's a lesson I'm learning that this is something meaningful. Now, it might be meaningful for you, it might not, but I can't give you some prescription for your life. The other thing that's important about balance is sometimes people think balance is something you achieve and now it's done. And that's why they want these rules. If I talk to my partner 45 minutes a day, if I play with my kids 2 hours and 15 minutes, if I do this, if I do that, I have a balanced life. But the truth is, as much as it's important to keep in mind the things that we want to stay balanced with or what's important for us, that sense of balance, it's kind of like you're walking on a tightrope. Now, it doesn't mean life is that scary, but it does mean that keeping our balance is not something that once we've achieved it, we can just stop thinking about it. As you're walking on a tightrope, you have to make sure that you maintain your balance, or notice when you are getting out of balance, and to then try to find it again. So many of life's challenges in a relationship, a balance between closeness and distance, for example, is not something that you just establish and you forget about. It is a challenge that we are constantly dealing with. Just like as you're walking, you keep maintaining your balance. You might lose it a bit, you try to get it back. Similarly, in life, we have to be self-aware, pay attention to what's happening in our world, what's happening internally, and then make the adjustments to try to keep and maintain our balance. So this title, Lessons I'm Learning, is something that I've been working on, writing different themes, topics, expanding on them. But what I'd like to do is to talk about them on the show. And usually right now I'm on Instagram Live, so you would see that I don't have like a script or these things written out. But the themes, I've thought about them a lot, and some of them I have fleshed out the ideas more. But each week during the show, maybe it'll be one or two of them. But I'll kind of go through these lessons that I'm learning and share them with you. Very open to hearing your feedback about them as well. But just different topics and themes that for me are important for life, for living a good life. What does that even mean to live a good life? And so it'll cover things from mental health. What does that even mean? What are, to me, the important indicators of mental health? Looking at relationships. What are the factors that are important to create a good relationship? Parenting. I'm actually about to be a parent myself in a few weeks, so I already know how much I have been telling people how to parent without ever doing it myself, and so I apologize for my own ignorance, because I know once I'm a father myself, I'll see how you can't really teach so much of those things, but even there, I think there are principles that are important for us to keep in mind. Also, I'll cover things like, what is it, what do ghosts, or where might ghosts come from? I don't know something about that, but I'll share some of my thoughts about that. Themes on control. That's a big one that I have recognized in myself and working with clients. How much control can make us act in certain ways, react in certain ways, and even turn to certain people to give us the solutions. So to wrap up this segment, it makes sense that we want someone to have the answers. And this could be a personality, a person, this could be a religion, it could be an ideology, but life is uncertain. So much of it is uncertain. First of all, what is going to happen to us is uncertain on any given day. We'd love to have a prediction. That's why people go to psychics, both to know what's going to happen to them, because that anxiety can be overwhelming, and also because we're so afraid of making decisions, the uncertainty that lies there, that we would like someone to tell us what's the right thing to do. So because of that uncertainty that we have to deal with being human, we are often looking for solutions to go away from that uncertainty, to not have to deal with that sense of, I don't know what is going to happen. It's funny, as I'm talking, my throat is getting a little bit sore, so it's almost this uncertainty there of even being able to finish these next sentences. But so we have this sense of, I don't know what is going to happen, and that's very scary. If someone could tell us what's going to happen, that's very comforting. And if someone could tell us what is the right thing to do, that would feel so good. If I find the right person to listen to, then I can just listen to them, do exactly what they say, and by telling myself that this person is this chosen one or has the answers, I don't have to worry anymore. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we have to live through life with that worry or with that anxiety. There is no solution out there that makes life easy. There's no person out there who has the answers for us. Life is a challenge, but a challenge we can get through, and we can get through it together, and that will make it easier. But no one will be able to give us those answers for us, and that's okay. And so there is this appeal of people who will have the answers. If you go on social media, you can find hundreds and thousands of them, and throughout history we've had them, of people who have come to us saying they have the answers, and this symbiotic relationship exists. People are uncertain, they're dealing with this anxiety of life, and they're looking for someone to give them certainty. And there's people that are charismatic leaders that want attention, they want the fame, money, everything that comes with it, feeding their own narcissism, their own ego, and they will claim to have all the answers and come to us ready to serve. And these people find each other, millions maybe of people find that one leader, but they come together and have this symbiotic relationship that works until it doesn't work, which is kind of how most relationships go that don't work out. But it works in the sense that I'm listening to this perfect person who has all the answers. They get to have all this attention and feel good about that. But it's all fake. It's all a facade to overcome, on one hand, the anxiety of dealing with the uncertainty of life, and on the other hand, the person who's a charismatic leader likely dealing with some fear of inferiority or not being enough and wanting to become this larger than life figure. By becoming larger than life, it's almost like living forever or not being so small. So, as I mentioned, the answers are not clear for anyone. I don't have them for you. But what I hope to do over the course of these lessons is share some of my thoughts, not as solutions, not as final answers, even from myself, but not even final answers for you, because it'll be up to you to use, if you'd like, whatever I'm sharing to figure out things for yourself and what will make sense for your life. So look forward to sharing these lessons I'm learning with you over the course of the next weeks, months. I don't know how long it will be. Looking forward to hearing your feedback along the way. So this was the introduction to Lessons I'm Learning, describing why it's called Lessons I'm Learning. Going forward, we'll go through different lessons, different ideas, and look forward to sharing them with you. Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.